Namaste, hello. Can you hear me well and see me well? Both are fine? Okay, very good. Video is a bit not so strong. Okay, let's see if it settles in a bit. All right, who wants to sing? Perhaps she'll sing. Huh?
Sagunam hanoki Nirgunare tudha Sagunam hanoki Nirgunare Saguna nirguna Eko govindure Eko govindure Saguna nirguna Eko govindure Eko govindure Tudha Sagunam hanopi Nirgunare Tudha Sagunam hanopi Nirgunare Anumanena 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 Shruti neti neti manati govindure Shruti neti neti manati govindure Tudha Sagunam hanopi Nirgunare Tudha Sagunam hanopi Nirgunare Tudha drishyam hanopi Adrishyare Tudha drishyam hanopi Adrishyare Drishya Drishya eko govindure Drishya Drishya eko govindure Tudha Sagunam hanopi Nirgunare Tudha Sagunam hanopi Nirgunare Tudha akaru hanopi Nirakaru re Tudha akaru hanopi Nirakaru re Akaru nirakaru Eku govindure Akaru nirakaru Eku govindure Tudha Sagunam hanopi Nirgunare Tudha Sagunam hanopi Nirgunare Nivriti prasade Jnanadev bole Nivriti prasade Jnanadev bole Bap Rakma Devi varu Vitthalu re Nivriti prasade Jnanadev bole Bap Rakma Devi varu Vitthalu re Tudha सगुणा म्हणो की निर्गुण रे तुझा सगुणा म्हणो की निर्गुण रे सगुण निर्गुण एक गोविंदो रे एक गोविंदो रे सगुण निर्गुण एक गोविंदो रे एक गोविंदो रे तुझ सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे.
Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Sadguru Sri Muji Baba Ki Jai. So the sage Gyandev said, should I consider you to be without attributes, Nirguna, or should I consider you to have attributes, Saguna? Both Nirguna and Saguna is one Govinda, is one Krishna. So don't just feel that the sage is being poetic. Yeah? Of course, he's being poetic and it's very sweet, but in the utterances of the sages, there are pointers in that which seems to be the most simple pointing. So, what you can do is, yes, so beautiful, without attributes. Nirguna also God, with attributes. Saguna also God. So beautiful, and you may leave it at that. But I am saying that you don't leave it at that. You see? The sage is not saying that this discovery is available only for me, and I'm telling you so that you can just hear it from me and enjoy the poetry or enjoy the devotion. These are pointers for us to really contemplate, to discover for ourselves. If the sage has come to this recognition, can we confirm it? And where will the confirmation happen? Will it just be intellectual? Because intellectual is easy. If you trust that sage, you will say, he is saying, so it must be true. But what if we were not allowed to infer and we had to confirm directly with our own insight? Then where are we in this? No? Should we start here today? I feel like in a way it is a continuation of last time satsang. You want to start at the saguna side or the nirguna side? That choice you have. Saguna side. Okay. So this realm of perception is here. All that is perceived, everything that is perceived, can it be perceived without any attribute? Now, don't understand too much what I'm saying. Just follow with the innocence of a child. You don't have to go back with the Saguna Nirguna encyclopedia. That is not the attempt. It is just to meet try and meet what the sage is saying. So everything that you're perceiving, the sound of this voice, the images in front of you, the taste in your mouth, the feeling on your skin, the smell in your nose, all of this, an internal perception, memory, imagination, thoughts, emotion, all of these are being perceived. Can they be perceived if they were empty of all quality? No? So they have to have at least one quality for perception to happen. Yes. So that is the meaning of saguna. At least one attribute, one guna is an attribute. So it can be color, shape, size, texture, volume. It can even be duration. Time and space both are attributes. So everything that you perceive is perceived. What you actually perceive with the gunas. What you actually perceive are the attributes. You perceive some attributes and then you infer what that means. So if you see a head and a body, whatever, then you may infer person or human. Then based on other attributes, you may say man, woman, all of these attributes maybe. So that happens. Is it a part of the saguna perception itself, the labeling? So how does it happen? In the perception itself, without using the mind intellect, what is anything? So the movie is playing. There is a subtitler in your head which says this is this, I'm understanding this, I'm not understanding this, all this narrative is going on. So I'm saying keep that narrative aside. Besides the narrative, then what do you perceive? It's pure perception, and the gunas may be perceived, but we don't make meaning or sense out of them. And we'll come to whether that is relevant or irrelevant. So there is pure perception, which means independent of labeling or interpretation with thought. And there is a way to live where everything that you're perceiving, you're labeling, you're interpreting, even things you're not perceiving, you're interpreting and making a story out of. You can notice even this much. Notice that the label is not inherent in the perception itself. The labeling is another process, the subtitling, the narrative. So what is this without the label? Yes. So we can't really conclude. We need that labeling machine to come, called the mind. The mind is what? A bundle of thoughts. So these thoughts then define what is the story, all of that. But we won't go there for the moment. Now, so this is the saguna, just pure attributes. They're just playing all this movement. And what is known? What did the Vedantic sages say about the world of attributes? Yeah, they said it's unreal, and they also said it's unreal because it does not stay. Everything that you perceive comes and goes. Only that which does not come and go is reality. Correct? So nothing in the realm of perception is constant or permanent. And we'll talk about attachment and desire and aversion, all of that separately. Okay. So that is saguna. Now, Bhagwan Sri Ramana Maharishi asked this question. He said, in whose light do you perceive the light of even the sun? Or in whose light are you perceiving even the light in this room? In whose light are you perceiving anything at all? Whose light is that? Hmm? Hmm? Your own light. Your own light, exactly. It's your own light. What is this own light? Where did it come from? What is this light? Everyone confirms this is our own light. And own, we'll see who that own is, whose light that is. But we are not saying that it's a product of flesh. We're not saying it's a product of food. All that is also part of the perception, which is perceived in a light which we are calling our own light. In my light, do I perceive the light of the sun? Now, this light, for the moment, let's call it Atma. For the moment, let's call it Atma. So, when Atma is here, in the light of the Atma, in the light of the presence, Atma, presence, beingness, I amness, Holy Spirit, the Holy Word, all of these things, use them synonymously. So for today's conversation, let's say this is the Atma. So this Atma, is it saguna or nirguna? And don't refer to the previous satsang because you know the answer. Try to meet it fresh. So everything that is with attributes is observed in the light of the Atma. And the Atma itself is what? With attributes or without? Okay, one says without. Other answers? So it's perceived. But is it perceived like this? Okay. So one says completely empty of perception. Another says it is also perceived. You see? But what you're saying is that it is perceived but different. You see? Because if I say, can you see it? Can't see it. Are you hearing it, touching it, tasting it? You'll say no to all of that. You see? But you may say that it has a primordial, the subtlest vibration. You see? And a vibration means Nirguna or Saguna. You see? So to vibrate, the vibration itself is a quality. You must be noticing the vibration for us to say that it vibrates. You see, and now it doesn't vibrate like this, like this. You see? There's like a, okay, I don't want to over define it because you'll start imagining stuff. So this is why I say that this is on the cusp of saguna and nirguna. It is both saguna and nirguna, and actually then the whole bhajan from the sage could be devoted to this presence, because this presence is both saguna and nirguna. It is akar and nirakar. All the verses of the bhajan could be applied to this, and therefore then we could also say that this is the presence of God itself, but we'll come to that in a moment. But everyone's with me so far? Now, how many are feeling like this Atma, the both dual nature of it, or the cusp? You've lost us. I've lost all of you. I know, even online. How many of you are feeling that? Lost? Okay, one hand. At least one honest Sangha member. So let's really explore this, because when we are looking at things from this side, we are going from the saguna to the nirguna. The saguna itself, we spend a lot of time on. In our life, most of it goes in the considerations of that which has attributes. So let's go inwards from there and see where that gets us. So, do you have to be awake to notice even the light of the sun? You have to be awake. Na? If you are asleep, then sun, moon, you don't know stars, what's happening, you don't know. You see? Whether you're in limbo, whether there is a world, whether anything was ever born, all of that at that time at least is lost to you. You may conjecture and say, oh, my body was sleeping, all that stuff. But it's all gone, isn't it, for that moment of time. So that wakefulness comes from where? Does it come from outside you? So every day some wakefulness comes to you to the body and you wake up. Is it like that? There's a wakefulness or aliveness or beingness which is here now. How do you know that you're awake? Your first answer will be because I perceive a world. You see? Now, this is a good experiment, no? So, if the world slowly started dissolving, so sight went away, are you still here? The sight went away? Okay, tell me when you go. Okay, hearing is going, smell, touch, taste is going. If all of that went away, then would you be asleep? Be much more awake. Okay, very good. So, what tells you that you are awake right now, independent of the saguna? That's what we are discovering. That if everything that is sensory, everything that is perceived was to go away, like in a deep meditation, then every deep meditation would be a deep sleep. But we say, no, I was not sleeping, I was meditating. Yes. So that sense of being, is it perceived or unperceived? Huh? Perceived. Okay, perceived. In what way is it perceived? Sight? So touch, smell, taste? Is it like imagination, memory? You see? So this perception, non-perception, phenomenal, non-phenomenal, that is your Atma. Because you can confirm its presence. Nobody's confused whether they are awake or asleep. But that, the presence of whom, the I amness, the Atma, the beingness, can be confirmed by us. You say, yes, I perceive it, but in what way do we perceive it? Huh? Hmm. So when I ask all of you, can you try and stop being? Try to not be for the moment. What do you find? Yeah. There is a presence. You see? Now this presence is both phenomenal and non-phenomenal. You see? Because we are confirming, you'll say, it's there, Ananta, it's there. You see, I can't point a finger to it, but I am here. You see, I am here. This I amness is here. You see? So this I amness is confirmed. Now if I ask you, what is the boundary of this being? Try to find its boundary.
It's like when you say it's the boundary, it's the same.
Yeah.
I get a taste of the
Yes, exactly.
that taste
Good.
is not the
Entirety of it. Exactly. Exactly. This is the main point. So look at it this way, that which is purely Nirguna is the ultimate reality, you see, and this is metaphorical, okay, and I don't know, maybe it's true, but realize that when it's playing this game of Maya, when it is playing this game of the Leela, what it is so far out from name and form, so far fetched to the intellect and mind of name and form, obsessed with name and form, that if it remained purely Nirguna, you see, then it would never discover itself. The playing in this human condition, you could never find. You see? So, and also then, if it had made itself appear in a purely objective way, you see, then the idealization that we do would be an end in itself and not leading to the deeper discovery of God. You know what I'm saying? It was just, we could find an object, you see. So if everybody had like an object, like the heart, next to the heart there was an object called God's presence, you see, then it would just become like a actual object, and we could just idolize that object and be with that, but then we would never yearn for the unperceivable nature of reality, because that object would be. So what did God have to do? God had to create its presence, his presence, in a way that we could find it also. You see, we need that taste of it, like she's saying. We have a taste of it, and yet if it just become limited by that taste, like a sweetness, then finished. But it's not. You're confirming that it is boundless. Yes. The presence is like the finger of the being, which is the body. You see, so it's the tip of the iceberg. You see, so we can't say the finger is the body is the body has the finger. You see, but the taste of the being is not the entirety of the being, like you yourself are saying. The taste is of the finger, you see, which is the presence, the Atma. You see, but the being is Ishvara, Paramatma itself. Is the unfathomable, boundless reality of God, consciousness. So it's like, okay, so the finger is like the presence that you taste, like God's presence is within myself. You see, when we can confirm that it is within myself, then we can say that is the Atma. You see? Now, when we say what is the boundary of this presence, you see, it is everywhere. You see, it is boundless. And then we are relying more on intuition rather than the taste. You see? So that is the distinction. When I say, can you stop being? You get a taste of your being. When I say, what is the boundary of your being? You move to a purely intuitive looking, hopefully, where the taste is not the centrality, the central thing to be able to confirm that the being is boundless. So it is the presence of the being is the Atma. The being himself is the Paramatma. And remember that there is no real distinction between them, but it's just like the tip of the iceberg is the same as the iceberg. The finger is the same as the hand. You see, it's the same substance. You see, but qualitatively, it's like a helping hand which is made available to us. So when we come to the Nirguna from this side, and that day we looked at it from that side, then this is a great helping hand. Now, for many of you who are not fathoming this being, this Atma, this Holy Spirit, find some love in your heart. So you find and make it empty of all conditions for a moment. Just focus on the love itself. Don't make it about anybody. Maybe to trigger it, you have to think of someone, to remember God, or remember a child, or a parent, or a beloved, or whatever you need to do to invoke that love. Then just focus on the love itself. Found it? Sorry if I go too fast. Usually remembering a loved one invokes that love. Yes? Mike? Switch it on.
So the taste of it is apparent, which is peace. But I can't say it is.
The taste of it is peace? No, okay. So use the peace. Are you experiencing peace? Very good. Very good. So use the peace and find out the source of that peacefulness. Where is it coming from? That's the same thing I was going to do with love. So love, peace, joy, which is unconditional. The source is your Atma itself, is the being itself. Yes. Is the source outside you? Do you have to be awake to experience that peace? Yes. So every time you're awake, you experience that peace? No. So there are times where wakefulness is there, but peace is not there. And there are times where wakefulness is there, but peace is there. So there's a wakefulness which is independent of peace. You see? Which you are confirming you are awake. When you confirm you are awake, is it based on the peace? No. What is it based on? Is it based on just the perception of the world, of which peace is a part of it? So this is worth experimenting. That we found that this much is seen that it's independent of peace. That you're awake, you can confirm whether peace is present or not present. Yes? Take your time also if this also needs time. It's very good to contemplate this. So there is a presence. It's okay to call this wakefulness presence. Like we can, because of the wakefulness, we say, I am here, no? I am present, or this presence is here. Like I am alive, or I am here. Isn't it? So what is that which is present? I lost you. Able to follow or no? Not. I'll just come to you.
Not outside me. When the perception went outside me, then there will be apparent.
Yes. Yes. The peace is apparent. Yes. The peace is apparent. And then the question was, where does this peace come from? We said it's not, I cannot decipher where it comes from. But one clue that I'm giving is that it is apparent only when we are awake. You see? Now, but every time we are awake doesn't necessarily mean that there is peace. There could be some other perception also. You see? So there is a wakefulness, there's a presence which is independent of peace or not peace. You see? So what is perceiving that peace? That question, let's see. You have to be awake to perceive that peace, isn't it? That one who is awake, who is here, who is present, is the Atma. So these are very subtle things. In the world, they're referred to as Brahma Gyan or something which is very difficult to come to. It is difficult because we are so used to using our mind to understand. So, and that to allow yourself to feel safe enough to drop the mind usually takes a few sessions of satsang. We call it a defrosting that happens, because initially when everyone comes, they just yes, no, nahi, got it, not getting it. So that traffic is too much initially. So I've observed in the last 12 years or so that it usually takes a few sessions for that traffic to mellow down, and for us to really have to become independent of the twittering of the mind, to come to an insight about what is being spoken. But the good thing is that even if it feels like I'm not understanding at the moment, somewhere something is getting seeded. You see, somewhere something is being met, because our Atma, our being is the same actually. You see? So these words are actually coming from that same being, that same Atma. So if you just bear with the frustration a bit, like I can't understand what's happening, you see, all that a bit, then it may get easier for you as you go along. So the problem is not that it is too difficult, the problem is that it is too simple for the mind to grasp. So because it can't really get a fix on this, it's limited to the realm of perception, and to judge that, to create some understanding, to create some narratives. So it does all that. But here these are subtler realms which the mind intellect cannot reach, that only your antardrishti, your intuitive insight, can reach. So, and what it needs is a sheer innocence, like a sheer innocence. You will have to drop all your spiritual knowledge also, all the spiritual experiences also. Just you have to come to the innocence of a child, to be able to look at things without knowing any names, without the mind saying this is that, this is like this. It's a very direct process. So my submission would be just bear with it for a while, see something will start to flower. But it's very natural for the first few satsang for the mind. क्या बोल रहा है? So, and this discovery, which we are taking just 10-15 minutes to come to, is the end point of most spiritual movements. They come to an end at this point. To come to the darshan of the Atma, to come to Atma Gyan, is the end in the sense as far as the words of that tradition goes, because then in the light of the Atma itself, the absolute is known very naturally. So what we are doing here is we are trying to move away from just a spiritual understanding, a set of spiritual concepts, because everybody's heard these words: Atma, Jagat, Jivatma, Ishvara, Brahman, Paramatma, all of these words. But are they just going to remain words? And are those words going to help? They don't help. When life makes us suffer, when life squeezes our throat, then the words are the first to go. All the knowledge that we learned, all the books that we read, usually go when the rubber hits the road. But when it becomes a living insight, even that in the Maya is so compelling sometimes that even that is forgotten, you have to admit. But it is not as easily left as words are. So I don't want to leave you with just a set of words, because a book could have done that. It has to become your direct insight. It is the simplest discovery and the most difficult discovery. Simplest and most difficult. It is for this discovery that Buddha said a man may win 100 wars or win over 1,000 armies, but the one who can win over their mind is the rarer one. So in that way, it sounds almost intimidating and impossible. But who is that one? That one is just one who has returned to an innocence, a childlike innocence, with integrity, not like as a tactic.
One question.
No, yes.
It's very clear now, Father, with in terms of presence of being and being.
It's very clear.
Yes, Father, it's
Very,
clear now.
very.
And when you say be in presence or be with God, I assume you're saying you be in His presence as much as you can.
Yes.
Father, in this also the confusion is what is there any something called awareness and consciousness also, which is different from these two, or this is
I'm coming to that. So consciousness is the boundless being. It's the way we use the word is synonymous with that. Is it? So consciousness, saguna Brahman, all synonymous. Is it? Paramatma, is it? All synonymous. The boundless God. But let's wait a while for those online also and those in the room also to make a report about this, the discovery of this being. And while we contemplate that, I'm just going to take a few minutes to just share what are the helpful things in the human condition which can make this discovery simpler. You may find in your head that there's no connection, so how does that help? But it does help. So humility is very helpful. An absence of pride is rocket fuel for your inquiry. If you take yourself to be somebody, if you think you're something, if you know too much, then it seems very difficult to come to this. So humility is very, very important. Faith, which means to trust your intuitive insight, your insight from the Sadguru presence, more than what your perceptions are telling you, what your perceptions are showing you, and especially what your mind is telling you, to have faith. And if you feel that you have had no intuitive insight, then to have faith that what your master is pointing you to is there is a greater reality, there is God's presence which lives within yourself. Yeah. And that's what it sounds like. But so this God's presence that lives within yourself initially may seem like it is just imaginary. You may seem like too far-fetched. How is it even possible to meet it? It may seem like that. But have faith, trust the words of the sages, The words of the masters have all pointed us to this, the reality of God's presence. And I'm not the first one to say that without this discovery, our whole life may go, birth to death may happen, but we would not have lived a single day. So it is very, very important that we prioritize this, if not make this all that our life is about, at least make this on top of the list. The discovery of God as a true discovery, as a true insight, in the form of the presence, the Atma within, the spirit within, is very important. So have faith that God's presence is here. Live like God's presence is here. Don't live worried and full of anxiety and full of false sense of responsibility, as if you are running this whole world and your life. You know that you don't know how to fire a single neuron in your head, if there is such a thing. Nobody knows. But we say, oh, I did this and I did that. How? So don't take on things which you have no idea about. Have faith that there is a presence, there is an intelligence here that runs this life. And if it takes care of birds and trees and fish, it will take care of your life also. Birds have no saving bank account, no current accounts. Trees don't know when the next storm is coming. And yet something takes care of them. Birds are so beautiful, and there's an intelligence that flaps their wings. I keep talking about this example of a documentary I saw once, where a bird in the first year of its life, it was alone, just eating the fish from the lake or the river next to it. But when the seasons were changing, it started to fly in a different direction. And all those birds fly in that same direction when the season changes. The humans call it migration, migratory bird. You see? But the bird doesn't have a compass, it doesn't have an atlas, it doesn't know countries, it just starts to fly. How does it know? Also, in another one, I saw that birds fly up to 200, 300 kilometers when something they recognize that there's water, there's rain, another part of the land. So they fly over there. There is no physical indication 200 kilometers away that it's raining over there. There's an innate intelligence which comes from life itself. And that intelligence is not alien to us. You see, we just have forgotten about it. It is the one that is beating our heart, it is making our breath flow, it is making this hand move, making these words come out. That intelligence is running our life actually, but the false ego has taken on that mantle and it says, I am doing this kind of thing. So have faith that God is here. Until you find His presence for yourself, have faith that God is here, because the one that you call Guru or Master or Father, you see, that you've given some credibility to in your life, that is His main message. That God is a reality which is present, and He's telling you that He's speaking from His own insight about it, His own discovery about it. So you can either say that He's really foolish and doesn't know what He's talking about, or He must be saying it because it is true. And I'm saying that it is true for all of you. So live in the faith of God's reality, live in the faith of God's justice. Don't take on things onto yourself. Resentment, pride, none of that is your business. Because it's for God to manage all of that. Anyway, that's a longer conversation. We'll come to following God's will, come what may, hukum vajai chalna. We'll come to that in a moment, because first it is important to meet His presence and then we can follow His will. But gratitude and prayerfulness are very, very potent things. So all of that which I have described so far is servitude. And a deep love and servitude together make up the beautiful Sanskrit and Hindi word called bhakti. So when this servitude and is met with a deep love for God in your heart, or any, like even if you feel like you don't love God, if you have an unconditional love and you remain anchored in that, that is love for God itself. Service without love is not bhakti, and love without service is not bhakti. So this, the deeper the bhakti, the deeper the jnana, the true intuitive insight, and the deeper the jnana, the deeper the bhakti. So it's a virtuous circle. If you deepen in your faith, in your humility, in your prayerfulness, in your gratitude, in your obedience to God, if you deepen in your love for Him, then your insight will naturally deepen. And as you deepen in your insight about reality, then you will deepen in your devotion as well. So when you run out of moves in the world, even then you can never run out of moves towards God. We can always be more humble, we can always be more loving, we can always be more faithful, more prayerful, more obedient to God's will. And when it seems like the words of jnana, the words of the question, are you aware now? Or can you stop being? All these discovery questions may seem too far-fetched for the moment. You can always pray, you can always love. Okay, so sorry about that digression. So when we come to the recognition of the boundless beingness, the boundless consciousness, Paramatma, Saguna Brahman, you may even ask yourself, who is aware of this being? Who is aware of that which is awake? Say, I am awake. I just woke up. That means you were aware that wakefulness was not there, and now you are aware that wakefulness is there. Because if you're just waking, and you were not aware of the time when you were not awake, then you could never say, I just woke up. You see, the time shifted. What happened? So, that awareness, which is independent of waking state, sleep state, dream state, and even Turiya, which is the highest meditative state, that awareness is your absolute reality. And this is completely non-phenomenal. It's a purely intuitive insight. You see, somebody comes and says, oh, my awareness looks all dark and empty, then they got it wrong. Who is aware of the darkness and emptiness? So this insight is completely non-objective, is completely intuitive. So the method of coming to self-discovery is the method of being intuitive. Because you may think and think and think and think 100,000 times, as Guru Nanak Ji said, it will never be a product of your thinking. And you may do as much smartness, Siyapa, no, he said. You may apply as much smartness as you want in that thing, he said. That, but all your smartness, and that smartness doesn't mean, oh, I'm like very street smart. It's including all the spiritual smartness. That this one said that, and this one said this, and this Upanishad is written like that, and that commentary of Gaudapada's, this Mandukya Upanishad has this. All that smartness will not help you unless you're using it to come to a true intuitive insight. What mechanism do we have to find that which is purely non-phenomenal? In the world, we've been taught how to deal with phenomenal things, isn't it? How to find it which is non-phenomenal? Nirguna, no? This whole satsang is because she sang that bhajan in the beginning. So, how to find that Nirguna? What mechanisms do we have to find things, to grab things? So, can you find the Nirguna with your hands? Can you grasp it? You can't grasp it with your hand. Can you smell it? Can you touch it? Can you taste it? Can you see it? Can you hear it? Can you? Without attributes. Then how? What is the extent of what you can do to come to this?
You can't do anything.
You can do something. I'll tell you what. Which is that there's a huge clue in the first chapter, second chapter of Be As You Are. No? Bhagwan said, and I repeat this almost every satsang, that the self will not be a new attainment for you, but you have to free yourself from ignorance, avidya. When you are freed from avidya, then the self becomes apparent. You see, what is avidya? Avidya is our conceptual understanding of the nature of reality. I refer to the self as that Nirguna Brahman.
Wherever the presence stands on.
Yes.
So there's a here-ness when you say that.
Mike.
You say there's a here-ness, there's a presence.
What do you say?
That here-ness, it's not the same as this laptop is here, no? Is it a different space only?
I have defined that for you. How do you know that you are awake? Cold? How do you know you're awake? Are you awake?
Yeah.
You're awake. Now, do you know that because you're perceiving the world?
Yeah. Kind of, yeah.
Which perception, really, which perception confirms it for you? You're awake.
Any perception.
Any.
Any.
So if sight went away, you're still awake, no?
That's just without speculating. I have to.
No, close your eyes.
Close your eyes. Okay.
You're still awake or no?
Yeah.
Still awake. Now you have to speculate a bit because you can't close your ears, close your nose. But isn't it like so like naturally obvious that because sight is the biggest, no? It's the biggest grasper. But once sight goes away, then it's very obvious that okay, so sight also went away. If hearing also went away, smell also went away, taste also went away. Or can you identify one sense where you would say, now this is too much, I will also go away if this goes away. I will not be if this perception went away.
If space went away. If
Space
space went away.
So space went away with sight, isn't it?
I can still say where the other sense is. I can feel.
Yes. So that sensation of feeling the body also went away. Would you be asleep?
Something that's right. Some perception is there.
Yes. Now, is that perception telling you that you are awake? Because if that perception was not there, would you say I have fallen asleep?
No.
It's just intuitive. It's just so obviously known. So this that wakes up, this is the one we say wakes up, no? When I say I woke up this morning, notice it tomorrow first thing in the morning. Who are you referring to when you say I woke up? This one. This is the presence. This is the Atma. This is the Holy Spirit. This is the Sadguru. But first you have to stop thinking so much. If you keep intellectualizing, then it will seem difficult. So it's played its part in your life. It's helped you deepen in philosophy and all of those things. Now you have to really become fully intuitive, fully heartfelt. And heartfelt is not just like nice and gooey like that. Although that may happen naturally. Kindness and compassion may happen naturally as you live in the heart. But truly heartfelt is to be intuitive. How do you know love? If you love someone, never love.
No, by perceiving. Perceiving love.
You perceive what? You perceive what? There's a feeling, no? You perceive a feeling. But is there someone you love even if the feeling is that you're angry with them?
The younger goes.
Okay, so parents may find this easier that we can confirm that we love our children even if the feeling at that moment is anger. So what is that love?
So I love my children and I love you. So that just brings me to that space in my chest, like that. But it's not a taste of love.
Yes.
I mean, as soon as
Because
you
the
speak
tasting
of,
could be of something else at that moment. I may be
Yeah.
frustrating you a lot in satsang.
yeah,
You see, the feeling may be irritation. Why is he saying like this? What is words he talking about? But if I say, if someone asks you, you love your master.
yeah,
Yes. Even then, even in that moment of experiencing anger, experiencing frustration, because the love that is felt is independent of that feeling. It is actually unconditional.
so love and the presence is the same. It's like an anchor, like it just brings me
Yes,
back, like
yes.
the attention comes back to the
In a
presence.
way, yes. It's
But
like
it's
that.
not the same thing, Father, you're saying, or
No, it's not the same thing. Is it? It's not the same thing. It
it's
is
like an intuitive knowing, like I
correct.
I
You
just
know
love
it
you.
intuitively. You know the love intuitively.
Yeah,
But love is like
yeah,
the best friend of the being. But you can't say it is the being itself.
it brings you
Because
to the being.
because
like,
then the being would be confined just to love.
yeah,
But the being is so much more. It is
yeah,
also
it's just like a fragrance.
intelligence. It is also, you see, it is also aliveness.
Yeah. Like
So
from
love
the
is
being, all these things come,
from
but
the being. All these things.
itself, I don't know what to say.
Itself is like water. Itself is like water. It gives rise to coconut water, nimbu pani, Coca-Cola, Pepsi. All those colors and shapes come from that. Without water, none of these are possible. But it itself is the source of all of this.
And much more. I don't know what to say.
Everything. That is the Atma. It is just that much guna that it is like the primordial vibration, the subtlest vibration possible. Everything else flowers within that, arises within that, but not like it's a huge space or something. It's just like the light of the projector. When the projector bulb comes on, whole movie comes on. You see? So is the movie inside the bulb? No, you see, it's not inside the bulb in that way, but it is, all of it is dependent on the bulb. The minute the bulb goes, it's all like sleep state. Isn't that our experience? So,
Feels like a
yeah.
it's like a it's like a doorway this way and a doorway that
Yes,
way.
exactly.
Like
When
when
you
you
go
stay
this way, from love to presence to being to the absolute, then it serves as a portal in that way. When you go that way from the unperceivable recognition of awareness to that saguna which is being, which is present, which is the source of presence itself, to presence, to the experience of the phenomenal world. That is what the whole game is designed. The whole Leela is like this. So if the Christians say the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, now you can extrapolate. Isn't it? Same thing. The Nirguna Brahman, the saguna, and the Atma, and Holy Spirit. Same. Atma and Holy Spirit is practically the same word. Father, yeah, the awareness. Awareness, consciousness, and the presence, the being. Yeah, the presence is that primordial taste, no? That we taste it like the water. It is tasteless, but you still taste water, isn't it? Like, what is the taste of water? Neutral, but you still taste that neutrality. You see, we can tell it's not Coca-Cola. You see, because the senses are like Coca-Cola. So you have all this shape, color, size, all this play of light and sound. They are the soft drinks, but it's all made up of the water. It's all in the light of. I'm really stretching the metaphor, but really it's tasteless in that way.
But like what I wanted to say is the presence doesn't have an inherent quality of love that
Like it's a natural companion. No? That's why I said like a best friend. You see, but it's not like inherent is a confusing word over there, because it's very, very natural for there to be unconditional love in the presence. But is the presence independent even of love? Yes. Yeah.
Like the presence is apparent right now,
Yeah.
but I'm not tasting the love.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm not tasting the love, the unconditional love.
Yeah.
But when you speak of love, then it comes here. It's like that in my experience.
Yeah. And then when you deepen in that love, suppose you just like loving Anand Mahima. You're watching a video of her and you're really loving her expression. You're watching it and you're just, she's so amazing, so good, so good, so good. There comes a point where that love itself takes you to a stillness, isn't it? Experiment with this and see. There comes a point where nothing may be tasted, just you're present. That is what in the Atma Darshan Samadhi is the Savikalpa Samadhi, where the presence is apparent, the world has vanished, all feelings, thoughts have vanished, everything is vanished. You just come.
I still have one question. Sorry, I'm always when this thing is a little. So can we do it right now for like house shift or something? Just like it's apparent in my chest, like the vibration is palpable. There is no feeling of love, but it's clear that this is what I am, infinity is what I am. That's it. There is. So when we keep talking of love, what is the...
For those whom this is not apparent that way, you see, but you can still remember your kids and feel love for them.
So like many times when the mind is like, I'm in my mind and
Correct.
you say love God.
Yeah.
So that is like a handle to have.
It's like a remembrance of God itself will bring some love. Or like if you love Devi or if you love Krishna, then the remembrance of...
It doesn't always bring, like say, if my mind is active, I'm with my mind. And then I remember your words, love God with all your heart. It doesn't bring the taste of love, but it just probably just brings me back here. Like,
so is there an expression of God which you deeply love?
Krishna.
So when you remember Krishna, so do experiment, just say Krishna to yourself 4-5 times and don't love. Love is not allowed.
I don't know, I'm not trying.
Try. Close your eyes, and say Krishna.
It's too much.
Try not to love. Let's close our eyes.
Not possible.
No, you can't do it. Why? Because love comes.
Don't talk of Krishna.
Looks like some other Krishna.
Some other God.
No,
I missed start laughing. Like if I see Krishna or something reminds me of Krishna, it just brings me here. But
Do
you're
it,
saying
no?
love comes with it.
Just close your eyes, say Krishna 5 times and don't feel any love.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Try. It's like, ये नहीं करूँगी और कुछ. What is the other? Because I know what's going to happen in this.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and for another it may be Jesus. For another it may be Allah. For another it may be Devi Ma. For another it may be the Master. It may be anything. But in all our lives, at least one, maybe our children, maybe our parents, maybe something is there that brings us to where it's impossible not to come to love in the remembrance of that.
Not tasting love. I'm
Yeah?
sorry or something like
Like Krishna,
I'm saying Krishna.
no love is coming.
It's almost like I fear that no love will come. Like something is
something
there
is-
around this topic.
So it doesn't have to be 4 or 5 times. The remembrance of the beloved will bring the love.
Some kitch is happening inside.
Because your mind doesn't like that.
It doesn't like it. It just
Because
it's like,
this
but I
is
can come to the
It's
presence.
a constructed something around the topic of
Yeah.
love, and it feels like in this way it'll break. So just tell me another way. Tell me some other thing. Just explain it to me. Don't show me. Yeah? Something is happening there.
Something is
That which is saying that help me understand it. You see? Help me understand it rather than just. It is the voice of the mind which says help me understand it more than.
something's just so scared. Like I just don't want to look at this. It's
Okay, when you go home, put on Krishna bhajan.
no way that I want love.
So it's so beautiful that we can love him. Even if it feels like, but how do I love? How do I love? Just remember him and we love him. Huh?
Happens when you say this. I think no, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it's not like a magic pill, one tablet, Krishna. Not like that. You remember him deeply like Krishna.
Can I just get my irritation out?
What do you want to say? Say.
I don't know. No, this topic just definitely brings kitch inside.
Yeah, because there's like a left out feeling attached to it. Where many times we're just like love, 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 love. What are they talking about? So it can create itself in the corner of the classroom. Just feeling like. Okay, kids.
Love them. I'm not
They
feeling
are
the
not.
love.
Yeah, okay only.
I love my kids.
How you know?
I know.
Yes,
Like,
intellectually.
I love you. There's no doubt.
Is it intellectual?
No.
Then? So when you remember them as babies, when you remember sometimes in satsang, then love will come.
Yeah. It doesn't always come.
It's not a remote control.
So what if love comes? I mean, why are we so much? Okay, I'm just going to speak that
Yeah.
it's coming. Why are we always like love, 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 love? I mean,
Yeah,
so what
because
if there is love?
when you're anchored in love, then your mind doesn't have much chance.
So anchored in the taste of love.
Love, in whatever way. Is this remembering, oh, I love my master so much. Not remembering, but actually just experiencing that.
It doesn't work like that for me, brother. I don't understand, seriously. Sorry, I'm just going to speak the way
No,
it's
no,
coming.
say-
Okay, I need to get this. I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to understand.
Yeah,
So keep that understanding aside. Which is the tool of understanding?
the mind.
Fine, keep it aside.
Okay.
Now don't love. Just be in presence, don't love. It's fine.
I don't get it.
Don't keep that aside, the get, not get. No love allowed.
But it doesn't always come.
Again, keep that aside. It's coming now. In spite of best attempts to.
I don't know what is coming.
Maybe this is the checkmate move for your mind that is resisting it so much.
So what to do? Just I don't know.
Yeah, there's nothing. Just remain open and empty. If your mind is not troubling you, then no problem.
Until that love topic is brought up, it doesn't trouble.
So that's usually been a clue, no?
Hmm?
It's usually been a clue in the past. If you look back at our satsang experiences together in the last, how many, 5, 7, 8 years? 8, 9 years. We've always had topics like, I can't tell about aware versus being, or something like that. I don't know what that topic was, but when there was irritation around it, what is the, I used to say,
You had
that
once
used to,
said open book, like is it the same as finger fist and something? It made no sense to me then.
something about awareness itself that I used to say often, and it used to irritate you. So, but when you came to that, you realized that it was just something blocking from the mind.
I don't know what the block is, but there is a block.
Don't become mental about
No,
it. That is the solution for
just
everything.
leave it, no problem. Just
Yeah.
nothing I have to.
Just don't become mental about it.
So whenever your instructions are guidance is for being in presence, Father, I want to clarify that. So there is a being, there is awareness, being, and presence of being, which you are saying is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And when you instruct me to be in presence or be with God, it's only up to the Son, isn't it? Because I don't see anything beyond that which is in my hand to do. So I can be with being.
Yes.
And
But even with, if you were to say, if I was to say be in God's presence, and I mean just the Atma itself, although we should never say just the Atma itself, it's Atma. So, but just for the purpose of this conversation, try to be in the Atma and not be in the being and not be aware of yourself as awareness.
There are no boundaries, Father. It's coming all together.
Okay? Because you're not using attention, or maybe using attention only a little bit for that most primordial sensation, then because the rest of it, sorry, so the rest of it is not with attention, then it only works, it automatically becomes apparent when we are not caught up in our mind. So that's why I keep asking, in pure perception, when you're open and empty, are you aware only of the perception of the world? This question is very important. When you're open and empty, you're not grasping in your mind, are you aware of the perception only of the world? Or is there something besides the world that you know? What do you mean? See? The witnessing is also apparent, no?
You just have to withdraw your attention.
Can you see the witnessing? No, not have to withdraw. You see, so in pure perception, you don't have to withdraw from anything. You see, naturally you'll find that maybe it just goes like that or something. But independent of that, try to be in pure perception and not be aware of the witnessing, of the awareness. There should not be any witnessing, only the world should be there. All these reverse questions work better. Only the world succeeded, witnessing gone, Sakshi is not there. Only world. Only Jagat is there. There is no Jiva. There is no Paramatma. Yes? Succeeded? Can't help it. The truth is just too natural. Here-ness is the presence of being. No? In pure perception, don't be. There should be no sense of existence, no sense of wakefulness, no sense of aliveness. That is here-ness.
Father, I'm catching you by words, but when you said in Sakshi is the one who is witness, the one who is aware. It's the same thing.
It's awareness itself.
Awareness.
That's why it's a Sakshi principle rather than a Sakshi person. His look is only changed after going to Thiru.
Yeah, it's true. Put on some weight.
No, this.
Oh, this one. Courtesy. Okay, so what I was going to ask was that so as awareness, I can see the light of being.
Yes.
Like pure light.
Yes.
And I know that I'm the one that's the singular point of knowing all, meaning knowing awareness, and then also, knowing the light, and then also knowing objects in the light, like the objects of the body.
And this light is nothing like this light. No?
Inner light,
sure
just like beautiful and pure energy, just very pure, pristine, like a pristine, unchanging energy with a very soft vibration to it, like a soft, pure, limitless energy.
Is it?
I don't know what energy, but something.
It's good. I'm just making sure together so that is it? What kind of energy would you say it is?
It's like silence. It's like basically silence, but not dead. Like dead is, let's say, when I'm in deep sleep, I don't know. I don't know at all. But here I know the silence and peace and harmony and like all that's like it's very very joyful, somehow very deeply restful.
And so it's the same as what you use to confirm that you're awake.
Yeah, same thing. First thing when I wake up, first thing comes. It comes only.
Awake.
So this one, Father, I know, and then I know from here, I know this, and then I also know innate objects like the object, the body object.
Innate connectivity and all of that is coming from where? Like the containment. I didn't even notice when we got disconnected. So. Okay, there are hands up. They're probably getting irritated with. Okay. So this we'll take this last question from the room. So the containment of this universe within this being is not like a spatial containment. Like you can say that all of this is happening in space, you see? But the existence of time and space are just intuitively known to be in the space of being, but it's not like a spatial relationship. It's not like Russian dolls, you see? Like Russian dolls, the big doll is awareness, and then there's consciousness, and then there's the world. You see, it's not like that. You see? And containment may not even be the right word, in the sense that just like there is no movie without the witness of the movie. You see? So in that way we may say the witness is the substratum for the movie. Also we may say there is no movie without the light of the projector. You see? But the bulb doesn't have the movie inside it. So when we say all is happening within my being, it is it's a purely intuitive statement. You see, because that being in which all of this is happening is beyond all perception and therefore found only intuitively. So the relationship between the awareness, beingness, and the play of the Leela of the world, for the sake of words we may say it contains, it has, but it's nothing that our mind can fathom in a relationship in that way. You just know intuitively, isn't it? Like, where is the world? Within my being. Now somebody says, prove it. Can't prove it.
The only thing I can say that I do feel from the same place is the sensations of the body. At least like some part of the body I feel in that space. And not the
in that space.
In the presence.
Yes.
So the presence is seen from awareness, and then there's both pure presence, pure light, and then there's some shapes in it like reflected light in the same.
So when your eyes are open, would you say that the perceptions of the world are happening in a different space than the sensations of the body?
Yes. Well, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't understand.
We'll explore this one. No, so just explore this. Like, okay, so suppose if your eyes are closed and you're imagining a tree, or you're imagining some pain in your nose. Is that happening in the same space as the sensation of the body? Let's start with pain in the nose, because that's very close. Now, when you imagine a tree, is it in a different space?
Same space.
Same or different?
Same space.
This feel is different. Like the difference is the difference in the sensory perception, the sense which is being used, or is there a spatial difference? Actually, because it's a non-space space, I need to find a better word to. Does it feel like it's happening? Okay, both things are happening within you. The imagination of the tree as well as the sensation of the body, both are happening within you. So that within is which space?
Space of being.
At least we can confirm that it is like a space of perception that we have, where our attention can traverse it and come to conclusion. That much we can confirm. Now, when the eyes are open, where does the world show up? Is it in the same space or a different one? So tree, eyes closed, we say this is within ourselves. Most will say within myself, I'm imagining a tree. World, eyes open. We feel like this is outside, but without labeling, is that difference Apparent?
Like within the aliveness.
Within the aliveness, within the being, within myself. We may say within my consciousness, all these words we may use. You see? But you see that there is no distinction between the so-called inner space and outer space.
Yeah, there's no distinction.
It's just what is being perceived in that, in front of us, let's say, in front of us. You see? That changes, but the mind labels it as inside, mind labels it as outside. Where is all of this? Just like the whole dream happens within myself, and we can confirm that after waking up. You see? And the same way we realize when we are open and empty, that this is nothing but another dream, a waking dream or a dream, all happening within myself. Now, is there a container, like object container, which contains all of this? No. You see, just like we can say the dream happens within my consciousness, the world may say it happens within my mind. You see? In the same way that this whole appearance is appearing.
Imagination is unreal, right? And beingness is real. So what is saying that is part of?
What is the difference between real and unreal?
Imagination is mind. And it's imaginary.
And this is not imagination. Dream is what? Imagination or real? And this? All this? How to distinguish? All these things your intuition will tell you more and more. That actually it's only a convenient categorization between dream and waking. She's like, अभी तो सब क्लियर हुआ था आज. Okay, let's go online. Yes.
Why is this important to differentiate between what we call as saguna and I mean, why do we differentiate? And when you say that the Atma is somewhere in between, I'm still not able to understand. I always thought that Atma means there is no moon, right? You can't like perceive it, right? Somewhere like your consciousness.
Then when you say Atma Darshan, what would that be? You heard this term, Atma Darshan.
I don't know.
Or when, okay, let's say even this popular term, no, self-realization or God-realization. What is it?
I'm still trying to figure out.
Exactly. So, why is it important to determine? Is because there are certain truths which are realized or recognized through a different mode of knowledge than the ones we're usually used to. See? So, there's a pair of glasses in my hand. What mode of knowledge are we using to confirm that?
Nice.
Perception, isn't it? And the labeling is coming from the mind. Is it? Now there is some knowledge which we have, which we use to override even what our senses are telling us. You see? So, for example, is the earth stationary or is it moving?
I mean, I have read that it's moving, but
Correct. So usually we give credence to that because it seems like credible sources are telling us there's a rotating and it's moving, but our perception is that it's absolutely still. You see? So we may have a purely conceptual knowledge, which may say Okay, although my perceptions are showing that it is absolutely still, I know for a fact that it is actually moving. And we know that for a fact because, not because we perceived it, because somebody we trusted told us, or we read somewhere, or there's a lot of, it's a popular notion. Now, besides perceptual knowledge and conceptual knowledge, is there another third form of knowledge?
That is what you said, intuition.
Yes. Now, if I was to say that the only way to know things which are truly valuable in the human condition is intuitively, is it? It's something that you can play around with and explore whether this is true. So, but one thing is for certain, that to come to Atma Darshan, Atma Gyan, self-realization, God realization, none of that is possible through perceptual knowledge and conceptual knowledge. Is it? So, because the Nirguna cannot be fathomed in this way. Is it? So, when we make the distinction between that which is saguna and that which is nirguna, it is to introduce us to this new form of insight, which is intuitive. So nirguna, we can understand it as a term in our intellect, but we can't meet it. We can't imagine nirguna. No? Even if we imagine a dark, empty place, it's still black. So that's a guna that it has. Pure nirguna can only be met through heart knowledge or intuitive insight.
Yeah.
What is the second question?
When you said that the Atma is somewhere at the cusp of Nirguna and Saguna, right? How do you explain them? I thought that it's a clear boundary. There's something which you can perceive and there's something that you cannot perceive. Right? So whatever you can perceive is Saguna, whatever you cannot perceive is Nirguna. Right? So where is this cusp? Where is this grey matter? Right? How do you define this?
Yes. So if it is purely non-phenomenal, then for most of humanity it would be out of bounds because we are so attached to name and form. Maya is what? Name and form. So, and if it became just another object, then it would just be an object. So we could take that object and say, hey, this is God's presence. It's objective like this. Now, when I ask you, because we have to do this experimentally, can you try and stop being right now?
No, I can't.
Because you have the answer intellectually, or what did you find?
It's not an intellectual answer.
Yes.
It's basically perception that it's not a perception, it's an intuition. It's an intuition that it's not a perception.
It's an intuition. So that beingness, if I ask you, where is it felt? Would you say nowhere?
No, it has to be felt somewhere. Yeah.
So tell me, where is it? If I said, where is the core of this being? Where are you finding it?
I don't know, maybe in my breath.
So this is where and because I have to use words, that's why I have to use words like cusp, because it's both here and not here. So you can't truly say, where is it? How is it felt? Some will say, in fact, most will say it's in the heart region. See, somewhere here, I can't stop being. Crux, the core of my being is here. Others may say it's in my forehead, or like you were saying, breath, or some may say it's like there's an aura around me, something is there. Is it? But is it there, like, especially if you were to take a microscope or something, you will not find it. And yet we can say it's here, but it's not here. So that's what I mean by the cusp. You see? Now, if you were to use that and say, what is the source of this beingness, my here-ness? You see, where does it come from? Or you ask a question like, who is aware, or what is aware, or what is witnessing even this beingness, you see, then that takes you to a purely intuitive insight. You see, for that you will never be able to say it feels like my breath or it feels like my heart. It just feels like a completely detached witnessing from the entirety of the universe. But these are big questions, which the questions are the seeds for our inner contemplation and for our discovery. So when we come to this, we recognize for ourselves what the sages have been talking about in the present, in the form of Atma, Saguna Brahman, Nirguna Brahman.
Yeah, thank you.
When you say this being or God's presence is not limited to one aspect, like the conversation we had that day, you can't limit it to only love. He is much more than that. Intelligence, aliveness,
Justice.
everything.
Like if it was just a ever-loving God, no? Then many times I also say, leave all justice to God. You don't hold on to this. God will take care. God will show everyone the way, all of that. So the most just, the most loving, the most intelligent.
So why I was, what I was trying to say is that, but still here, when I taste that love for God,
Yes,
it becomes the focus changes to God
yes,
instantly,
yes.
which doesn't happen with other aspects so easily for me, at least for me, because even if it is not about God, if I'm thinking about my child in Satsang, at least at that moment, I become insignificant and she or he becomes the center of my life, right? So I don't see this happening with other aspects
Other
of God.
aspects, yeah.
So this is, so in that way, somewhere I have that some weightage given to this love more. And when you say love is the best friend of being, something pokes you like, no, it's a continuation of that, because I don't want to separate it from that beingness.
That's fine. That's fine also. Because metaphors can't be like stretched or taken too literally. You see, so you can look at love as the aura of the being itself, if you like, or the hand, whatever you feel. But as long as you're not saying equals to, you say the love brings you to him. You see? So the him is not just the love itself. That's the important thing.
I feel it's the easiest part
Please, of course.
to him. And
That is
the whole, like if I'm, like somebody comes to my place for a conversation, I can see my eye coming up and trying to show something or that. So inwardly, if I just remember him, at least at that moment the shift is instantly happening, which doesn't happen with other aspects of God that you're talking about.
Absolutely. And love in that way, that's why when I spoke about Bhava Samadhi, I said anchored in love. I didn't say anchored in intelligence. So I'm not anti, I'm very much deeply in love with God myself.
So is that my conditioning which is attracting me
No,
to
it's
this
just
thing?
like some will have a thing where they will feel like when they inquire, when they just sit and question, who am I? Then that brings them to the presence and the reality. But if they sit and try to love, then it doesn't seem that direct. For you, that may seem most direct to just be in love or just remember love for God. It's all temperamentally and conditionally different.
But still, we can't put it over the other aspects. That's what you were saying that day, right?
Yeah. In the sense that when I'm saying that, I'm just saying that it is not I don't know, something I said which I found as a good pointer to this. He is worthy of love for who he is.
You said he makes love love. Love doesn't make him him.
Yes. He makes love love. Love doesn't make him him, in the sense that the supremacy is for God, for the Lord, and the path, the most beautiful, pristine, quote unquote, way is to love him deeply. But he is not just a bundle of love. That's what I'm trying to say. Those who fall in love with him, for them it may seem very easy, but in the same way, those who are truly inclined to deep contemplation, like the Gyan, that's what the traditional boundary of Jnani and Bhakta is. But one will lead to the other always. So what? Yeah. So the main point is that when I was sharing this with all of you, it was not that okay, don't like love him more and more than you can. You see that with all your might and more, but don't make any sort of condition around yourself which says no, my path is only this, you see, or my way is only this, because then he himself will show you so much more depth. But if you confine yourself to say it's only that, you see, love him with all your might, but never give it to your mind as a position. That's all I'm trying to say. Like we don't even know, like I may say now that loving him works the best for me, or inquiring works the best for me. 1 second later, by his grace, it may be the opposite. We don't really know. You see? So to give him that, to know that it's all his will and his grace as to which way this servant can serve him best, you see, is also his grace and his will. Let's go online. Let's go to Devi.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, my dear. Yes, I can hear you, my dear. Can you hear me well?
Yes, thank you. I don't know what to say. I just felt I need to speak to you more often. And
Very good. Very good. Very good.
um,
Mhm. Yes, you want to speak to me more often, and you're not speaking at all.
I don't know what to say.
Take your time. Take your time. Don't worry. Don't.
Because I can say about struggling and things like this, but I see it's also from my mind sometimes.
All struggle is always from the mind.
Yeah.
Try to struggle intuitively. Try to struggle from the heart. Can you do it? Like without the mind, struggle or suffer.
But it's not so easy to be in the heart.
Yes.
I seem to be caught so easily in the mind, and then I don't find my way out.
It's not so easy, and that's why so many satsangs throughout the week and throughout the years, because like I said in the beginning, it is at one level the most difficult thing, and at another level it is the most simple thing. When we look at it in the course of our life, then we find that we can have times where we're open and empty, and then we keep falling into the mind. You see? But when we look at it just in this moment, it's actually the simplest thing. But to live a life which becomes just like this moment to moment, strangely seems difficult. You see? In the moment it seems easy. So what can we do? Every time we find ourselves getting caught, we must find a way to return. Whether that way is to inquire, to pray, to be grateful, to love, all of these, whatever works for us in that moment, we must find a way to return to our heart and not live in the head. What you feel works for you quite effectively, or does that keep changing all the time?
To be honest, lately it's been really hard to find anything. Like I'm trying, and I have this tendency of becoming negative, like, oh, it's not working, or very desperate, like in a fearful way. I'm applying everything. So then, and also I'm expecting to feel better or to get rid of this
Yes.
anxious state.
Are you doing the Atma Darshan Samadhi? It's not a policing, you can say yes or no, it's either, it's fine.
I'm trying everything, but I'm not really consistent with something, like to try one thing, for example, and just...
One thing that you could try, and for those who feel like the mind is really strong, this may work well, is if you picked a prayer for the Atma Darshan Samadhi, at the end there is this like almost like an arrow prayer or a mantra. So I say Ram, for example, at the end of my prayer. So then you could take that throughout the day. So if you say Ram, you could say Ram. If you say Jesus, you can say Jesus or Krishna or Allah, whatever you've picked. And then that can become your anchor. See, because that anchor then can keep us away from the usual tricks of the mind. It gives us so many messages. So that could be a good way to short circuit the egoic identity. When the mind is telling you a story, if it comes to your recognition that you're being caught up in your mind, then you can quickly return to your chant or your prayer. If to return to love or your heart doesn't seem so easy, then you can use the name of God to do that. Have you managed to pick a prayer for yourself in the
Yes,
EDS or not yet?
I'm using the Jesus prayer because of my upbringing, and sometimes I really like lately I really did this like all day, almost like repeating the name, or sometimes the Holy Mother also. It's close to my heart.
And how was that day? How was that day when you used it?
It was still difficult.
Still
but
difficult.
At least I
So
was
how many
holding
days
on
did you
to
try?
something.
Yes. Try for a few
I'm
days.
just...
It is a very ancient technique. It's a very ancient method, as you know, in all traditions, to keep us away from the tricks of the mind and the traps of the mind. So initially, the thing with this method is that it's not easy to start with. It'll seem like a struggle. You need to replace the mental chatter with the prayer or the mantra. But once it becomes, so you may have to even do it vocally for a few days. You see? So if you're doing the Jesus prayer, you may say, Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. Then, of course, I've added something to that, saying, bless my heart with the light of spirit. And then if you say Jesus, you can say Jesus, 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 Jesus. So before it becomes like an internal japa, the internal prayer, the constant unceasing prayer, as it is suggested in the Bible, before it becomes fully inward, maybe for a few days we have to do it outwardly, and if it's still difficult, use a mala. You see, a mala is, or a rosary. A rosary is very helpful to use. But I promise you, if you invest in this for a few days, then it will start to become a very solid anchor for you. And if you start your day with this and the Atma Darshan Samadhi, I feel like it will be easier to spend the day in the presence of God. So try it out with full heart, and don't get frustrated too easily, and give it a few days and weeks. You'll see that it'll get deeper and better as you go along. Yeah?
Thank you.
And then you'll find that just with this grounding, just with this kind of grounding, you will find that the rest of what I'm saying, both in terms of insight and in terms of bhakti, in terms of devotion, both aspects seem a lot easier when we are grounded in that way. Otherwise, when the mind is full of stuff and we are not finding ourselves empty, then either aspect seems too difficult. I can understand that.
Yeah.
And for those who are not attracted to the prayer in this way, then you can use the inquiry. You can really sincerely ask yourself, who am I? It's a very important question to ask. Who am I? Sincerely and with the innocence of a child, we must ask. And when a thought comes as an answer, we can ask, who is witnessing this thought? And we can keep asking that, or if an answer comes conclusively, I am witnessing this thought, then we can ask ourselves again, who is this I? So what happens with this is that because thoughts are not being believed and more they're being used in the inquiry, the mind itself will not want to give you more fuel for the inquiry, so it will become more silent, and thus opening the way for your intuitive insight into your true nature as to who you are. You see? This is one question that makes the mind helpless. You see? Because if you say, what is a mango? Mind produces an image of a mango. It is, okay, what is the capital of India? New Delhi. You see, it is like an answer machine. So if you say, who am I? You see? It may try with something that you learn, but if you keep asking what is witnessing that, it has no means to answer that, because it's beyond its pay grade. It's beyond its job level. It's beyond its job description. So it can't go there. So that that in a way makes the mind helpless and makes it quieter after a few days of practice. And in the quietude of the mind, there are intuitive insight, the way of the heart, it flowers. So whether we use the prayer or we use the inquiry, we use the invitation, there's so many beautiful methods which are available to us. Every question of the invitation can only be answered intuitively. You see, have you looked at that? It can only be answered intuitively. So in that way, again, it makes the mind helpless and without moves, and brings us to intuitive insight about who we are. So if you do either the ADS, inquiry, invitation, prayer, chanting, devotional, singing, devotional, hearing, all of these will bring you to the same point. But if you are able to just follow one instruction, which is do any of this or whatever, but don't leave your bed till you come to God's presence. then you see your life will change. How do you find, how many of you feel like you're following that instruction? Don't leave your bed till you come to God's presence. Following? Like, and online? On Zoom? Hands? Anyone? Okay, thank you. So, just try this simple instruction. You see, and if you carry that intention lightly in your heart, you see, you will find that the means God will make available to you. If you yearn to be in His presence, then He will define the path beautifully. So just make this resolve for me. You will not leave your bed till you come to God. Our Part said very sweetly the other day that I have to brush my teeth, otherwise I can't start my day. So I said, okay, brush your teeth and then come back to your bed and then find the presence of God and then leave it. So,
And
but
if we have to
basically,
work,
before you
how
can
do
have.
we? If we have to go to work, how do we?
So yeah, you have to get up maybe a few minutes earlier. You find that space, 15-20 minutes, half an hour, some space in the morning where you don't get in the. Because what happens with the mind is early in the morning it blasts you with all the egoic messaging. You see, as soon as you get up, they'll say, this has to be done, this has to be done, this is there, this one doesn't like me, I have to deal with this. You see, all of this stuff. So you have to, if you live the rest of your day in that momentum of the mind, then obviously it is, you're not going to have a divine day because of the egoic energy, egoic pressure, and those who you meet also will meet you in the form of that ego. So it is not either in service to you or to your brothers and sisters in the world. So if you have to go to work at 7, then you have to make sure you get up with enough time, depending on how much time you take to get ready. So if you do the EDS, the EDS, at least 15-20 minutes we can easily do. You see, and that. And the deeper we carry the intention to live in God's presence, the ways and how it needs to happen, He will keep guiding us. But keep yourself in that spirit that I have to start the day with God instead of with the ego. You see, because if you don't start living like that, then it's all just lip service. No? Then it's all just lip service, and we're just talking about this, hearing these things in satsang, but it has to translate into our lives being transformed from the way of the head to the way of the heart. And most of you, it is happening, but for it to get deeper and deeper that way, just cut off the mind right at the start of your day. That will be good. Not that it won't show itself during the day. It will, but just return to that. When you started like this, the rest of the day, you will remember it more and more. Yeah, you're doing well. From when we first started talking to each other to now, there's a huge transformation already.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear. Okay, let's go to Aniko, the laughing Buddha.
Thank you, Ananta-Ji. I am not laughing at the moment.
Not laughing at the beginning, at the end usually.
Ananta-Ji, I don't know how to ask. This is a question now, and it's a bit difficult to ask. But is in me for a while now. Can you hear me properly, Ananta-Ji?
What was the part? I don't know what to ask, and then.
Yeah. So you know the last time when we was talking, and you asked me who who knows better than me? And then I
Who
said,
knows better than me?
who knows better than me what is the best for me? And
I see.
yeah, and then you said, and as of course is you, Ananta-ji and Guruji, and this is the true from my heart. But Ananta-ji, I just so there is a kind of a different path, actually a different focus on what is seemingly different, but I don't know. Sometimes I'm just so confused because that one helped me a lot as well, and but sometimes it seems so much the opposite, and there is sometimes when I don't know what to follow because I have to.
Are you going to just keep it? Are you going to keep it secret, or are you going to share
No,
what it is?
no. It is kind of it is kind of focus on the traumas and the suppressed energies, and because this is on the body, on the cells, memory, on the DNA, and this is a kind of way where we embrace and acknowledge this kind of because they pull us back to the identification all the time, and this is a way what's really helped me because this kind of dissolves these energies, and after I mean the end of it is just the same, this open emptiness. And but Guruji and he always say don't serve the mind with a tea. But this way is kind of serving this, so this is kind of difference. But they call this embodied awareness. How to embody. I know you already talked about this, and this is more like somebody do something and not just let everything go and being in this open. So Ananta-ji, I just would like to ask what is your opinion on this, because this is the two. Yeah, that's it.
So,
thank you.
that which is the most effective way that you found to make yourself open and empty, or to bring yourself to God's presence, that is the best for you. So if you can with integrity say that when I do this particular thing, and I don't know how it works or any of that, but when I do this particular thing, I spend a few minutes, and then I find that I'm in God's presence, and I love Him, and I'm in service to Him. So insight, love, and servitude become central to my life, and it's not in service to the individual egotistical tendencies in me. Then that is perfect for you. And there's obviously this one Ananta will not know every single method that exists out there. In every culture there are beautiful ways to come to God, and every day maybe newer ways are being discovered also. So I'm not making a judgment on any of that, but I'm just asking you to make sure that in whatever you're doing, make sure that it's in service to God and not in service to the ego. Where did you? Okay.
Yes, I'm here, Ananta-ji. As you are speaking, honestly, this is kind of purification from the pain, and I'm not sure if it's for God or but maybe it's helped me to get closer to God.
Yes,
I don't know.
Fine. That's fine.
I don't know if it's for God, Ananta-ji. I don't know.
Okay, even if it is for you, it helps you remain in His presence more.
At the end of the process, yes.
Yeah, fine. Then it's fine. It's good.
Because you
Anything
are
that leads us to God is spirituality. Anything that leads us to a glorified me, a better me, that is not spirituality. It is self-help, and there's nothing wrong with self-help. But we should call spirituality and self-help.
I find it make me more easy and more empty in a way, Anantaji.
That's fine.
And
empty is
you
very.
yeah,
Yes,
sorry.
yes, go ahead.
I mean,
And
Anantaji, for me, you are the absolute truth and the absolute. But I mean, I am not still at that level. I so much vasanas and so much traumas and everything in here, and I just feel I need. This is like a kind of not a therapy, but this is a kind of purification. And and I love you so much, Anantaji, and I am
so firstly,
always.
I just want to say that yes, my child, yes, thank you for that. I'm just saying that whatever is good that flows from here is just because God's presence decides to use this one as an instrument. And in this one, there is so much foolishness and stupidity and silliness that there is nothing that makes Ananta deserving of being called some absolute teacher or something like that. There's a long way to go, and I'm very much a beginner on this path to serving God. So, having said that, I feel that what has come from here can genuinely bring us to a true heartfelt life, and all the instructions are available for us to follow. And but that does not mean that if you find something which really helps you to become empty, to become peaceful, to enjoy God's presence, then please feel free to do that. I don't feel like I've ever stopped anyone from doing anything that brings them closer to God, brings them to a more peaceful state of mind. And except when some of my children have shared that they're doing something like this, like that, which seems like it really has nothing to do with God and it's not really helping them become peaceful also. It's just something which I don't know what it is for. Then I may have said, no, just focus on this. But from what you're saying is that you do a few minutes of something. I don't know what that something really means. Some embodied awareness technique. You do that for a few minutes, and then you find yourself less in pain, not suffering as much, more peaceful. You see? So from the byproducts, I feel like there's nothing wrong with it. It seems like it's fine.
Yes,
Completely fine.
thank you so much, Anantaji.
Very welcome.
Anantaji,
Yeah.
yeah, Anantaji, there is another thing what I cannot say now because I don't want it going to YouTube.
But that
And
one question is coming, which is that embodied awareness seems very zen, no?
oh,
Like the goose escaping the vase.
oh, I mean,
What does the term mean?
no, it is just kind of so the first part of this is a kind of same. I mean, this is just the
Containment?
surrounding or the natty. The first part is kind of natty part, like what is
Native.
this Adventic part, and then after we going back from to the body straight, we are not staying in this emptiness, but going back to the body, and from there there is a kind of loving present, what you also talk about, but there is a more focusing way to focus on this kind of they called inner child traumas or stuff like this. We are focusing on this kind of inner contractions, and then they are just dissolving, and after is just a beautiful loving presence there, and it is just my mind sometimes tell me that it is opposite with what Anantaji and Guruji say, and I shouldn't go this way, and sometimes I get confused, where shall I go, which way at the moment, what I should follow or practice, and this is why I ask. But
So I cannot, of course, speak for Guruji. I'm just a mere disciple. But from my approach has always been to look at the byproducts of something. And if the fruits are good, then the tree must be fine. So if the fruits are that you're finding a loving presence and every presence is God's presence, it's only God's presence which is here. If you're finding that as a result of whatever you're doing, then I have no trouble with it. I'm absolutely fine.
Thank you so much, Ananta-ji.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank
Good. There's some questions in the chat also. Father, what is your view on taking care of the body, mind, its energies, and taking care of the body, mind, its energies, and to make them pure? In my case, if they are pure, then all is clear, no trouble. But to hear you, like, none of it is the trouble. They can be as impure as I said like that. They can be as impure as much as they can be. No, I have not said like that. I've made everyone here quit smoking, drinking. It's not because of moralistic stance, but it's very important to keep the body, the mind, all of our various aspects of our being as much sacred for the temple of God, for the presence of God's light to be palpable and for it to remain palpable. So I don't feel like I would have ever said they can be as impure as much as they can be. And then that makes me confused, pressured, and resistant to you. No, please become pure. But I've not said like that. Maybe in the context of your reality as awareness itself is untouched by the play of all of this. You see? But the servant aspect of us, the servitude aspect of us, the servant can only be a good servant if he keeps himself there in a space sacred for God. I've said that very clearly. I've also posted this message in the group because I felt that so strongly. So recently, because of the work, I am a mess on those levels, and all my troubles come out of that. Okay, please say something about them. The saying of Papaji or Bhagwan, if you are happy, all is happy, really fits in my experience. I asked before, now again I will ask. May I ask for your blessing for source of income / work, which can completely support my satsang and my happiness for all. Yes, full blessings are with you, that whatever is supportive for you living a life in God's light, may God make that happen for you in the way that He feels is best, is the highest. Full blessings. Mother, please refresh your system. That was quite some time back. Hopefully it's fine now. This we answer. Okay, very good. One says saying God, God, God has become my anchor, Father. Very good, very good. I had this habit, I don't know where it got picked up from, but even before meeting Guruji, long time I've had this. Wherever the mind seems a bit strong and tries to bully, then I just look within and say, God. You see, it's like an arrow prayer, and that itself has helped me throughout the years. Then next one says, there is no particular location where we can be found. Body itself is an appearance in this vast field of divine consciousness awareness. Yes, only when I comes and seemingly contracts, the ever-present intuitive knowing, we find ourselves frustrated. The I comes only as a result of identification with the mind. That is the avidya. Very good. Then better for me to sit than to lie down, better to focus. Okay, 3. Very good. For years also I go to sleep in that way, which is to be in God's presence. Very good. Very good. So to sleep and then waking up also. Very good. Thank you. Very good. Thank you, my dear. Then, for those who have access to Sahaja Express, the daily contemplation, which takes 30 minutes, is a very good start for the day. Very good, very good, very good. Okay, let's go to Beatrice.
Namaste, Father. Can you hear me?
Namaste. Yes, yes.
I wanted to ask about love.
Love.
I feel that
Radha Blanc.
I feel that I love God very much, but
Yeah.
maybe I don't know if there is not so much, or I can love
You feel
God
you love
more
God very much,
deeply.
but you don't know whether it's much.
I mean, I don't know if I can love God more, or I have a blind spot or something.
We can always love God more.
And so, how can I see when I'm not loving God? Or
Right now, love Him more. You can love Him more now?
right now,
All of us can. I can love Him more now.
this disappearing?
Huh? Don't think, love. What are you thinking?
But,
Thinking has nothing to
okay.
do with it.
So no thinking is loving God more.
No, that's also thinking. You don't have to think about whether no thinking is loving God. Just love God. Remember Him, the aspect of Him which you love. If there's a holy name that you love, remember that name. If there's an image of Him that you love, remember that image. If there's a song to Him that you love, sing that song. If there's something that you hear, it makes you remember God so much, hear it. Whatever it takes.
Yes, I think maybe the thing is when I see people, maybe I do like a comparison, or I say, I think this is not God. Like I'm doing
Yeah,
separation
first is you
between.
don't have to think. You
Huh?
can't think and love God at the same time.
Mm. Yeah.
Invoke is not to think. To invoke is just to remember and then to leave all thoughts behind. So you say Ram, Ram, Ram. Don't judge, don't check, don't have benchmarks. Because even if you suppose love doesn't come, you spent your time in a worthwhile way, remembering the name of God.
Yes,
It's all
Father.
win-win. It's all win-win. There's no loss. If you say Ram 10,000 times and you don't find any love, at least you said Ram 10,000 times, or whatever resonates with you.
I feel, Father, that love, that God loved me so much. And this is my
You feel that
anchor.
God loves you? Huh? You feel He loves you. So that feeling is you loving God, is God loving you. It's the same. You feel it that He loves you.
Yes.
That feeling is your love for Him as well.
Okay.
Yeah, very good, very good.
And also, I wanted to say thank you because you say this about if you do something that makes you uh, feeling more peace or more calm or something. This is good for you because I was thinking that this is like feeding my ego. You, and,
Yes.
you know,
As
like
long as you're not just thinking that, just make sure that it's not, what I've said is not an excuse to do any bad habits and things.
yes,
I'm just
Father,
doing this because it
yes,
makes me actually we're just lost in some hallucination or some imagination and things like that. So just make sure that it is the true open and empty and living in the pure presence of God that I'm talking about, because sometimes the mind also loves an instruction like this, which will say, oh, but this makes me very happy, makes me very open, you see. But with integrity, and you can check for yourself if it truly brings you to God's presence, or it just some imagination gets activated and some mind stuff gets activated. So just use that check and
yes,
feel the
thank you.
pure presence. Very good. Very good. Very good. All right. And don't be worried. You look worried after the answer. Okay. Thank you. Let's go to some.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you, my child. Okay, last one.
Namaste, Father.
Namaste, my dear. Namaste.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yes.
तो फादर वो इंक्वायरी शिफ्ट के साथ आप कर रहे थे और
Yes.
he
Shiva. There is no Shiv here in the room. Yeah, please.
even when if I'm not like able to see here, if I'm not perceiving anything, but still
Yeah.
I know that I'm up.
That you're up. Yes, yes, yes.
Like how I know that वो नहीं पता मुझे, but
Yes. That not knowing how is the true source of knowledge which we have to rely on for everything. You see, that is the switchover from head to heart. You see, where so when I first heard that, I was just starting in spirituality, where my guru at that time told me that all of spirituality is basically moving from head to heart. So I felt like it is moving from the mind and all of these things to just my emotions and just to follow my heart emotionally, just whatever is coming, do that. But really, it is not that heart. This heart is the source of all knowledge, the source of all intelligence, where we find even that which we cannot perceive. Imagine how strange that is. We come to the absolute discovery of that which we cannot perceive or even think about. So that is the nature of the self. It is beyond perception. It is beyond thinking. So we learn to rest in that and live in that, so that our life is guided from there. Every step of our life is guided from there. And also we are recognizing our reality as pure awareness itself. I lost you and I kept blabbering. I was just going on talking. I don't know what to do now. Okay. So I was saying that which is awake, you see, that one, who is that? Is that I?
हाँ father.
See, I wakes up, I woke up. See, so wo bhi main hoon. And that which is witnessing that waking, that which is aware of that waking, is that I?
हाँ जी father.
You see, so even that is I. So this I, which is aware of its own being, which is the sense of being. I am. You see? And we don't know whether, how do we know this? Because it seems alien, these kind of recognitions without perception, without understanding. But we have to learn to live in this new territory, which initially will seem alien, but you recognize more and more that this is your true home, and we have been living in the wrong place actually. So it's very important that we move away from the way of the mind to the Sadguru presence within ourselves. So if you were alone in a room and suddenly I called you and I said, ask me whatever question you want, what would that question be? That you didn't have to worry about who's watching, who's listening. What is the most important question that you feel you need to answer in your heart?
Father question नहीं हो मतलब ये होगा कि
Okay, so if
मुझे हाँ
what is it that you want? Suppose if there's nobody judging, nobody listening, nobody. If I said to you that let's pray together to God and let's pray to Him for one thing for you, what would that thing be?
Father थोड़ा like have the courage
Just say it, don't worry.
Father to have the courage to live in the true way.
Acha, to have the courage to live in the true way. So what are you scared of? What will happen if you drop the mind and live in the way of the heart? What are you most scared of?
Father मुझे ये डर लगता है कि मैं immobile हूँ vegetative हो जाऊँ.
So there's a fear, and you can see it comes from the mind, which says,
हाँ
I'll become vegetative, I'll become immobile, which means what? Unproductive or just bedridden?
हाँ bedridden unproductive everything I'll just be in my room.
And anyone that you know of, any of the sages, anyone who came to the truth and found a way to live in their heart who became like that? All the ones that we have many, you've been to the Sangha, the Kendra, we have so many masters' photos on the walls. Anybody became vegetative or unproductive? So why do you feel like you will be the first one in the world to recognize the self and become a vegetable? And you'll be the first one to say, oh no, ये क्या हो गया? So can you see how unfounded that fear is from the mind? You'll be the first one in all of history that all the sages have this beautiful tradition and they've done such great work and written such great words and bhajans and all of that. But you, somehow, this child will be the first one who will come to God's light, God's presence, the truth, and she'll just become a vegetable on the bed. So be empty of that fear, nothing like that will happen. And I'm telling you one thing, that if that happened, so suppose you had the most productive life and you became a great psychotherapist and you had thousands and thousands of patients and all of that, you see, most productive, awards, money, fame, everything, but you didn't come to God, versus you came to God and you never left your bed. It is still, the second one is still better. Not that it is going to happen, but even if that was the choice I had to make, I would definitely make that choice for God, because how does it matter in this dream what happens? This dream is going to get over. The only reality is God. So if in the dream I just become nobody and nothing, how does it matter? This dream will last a little while. It's nothing at all.
जी फादर, और वो डिफरेंस मैंने देखा है दोनों तरह के लाइफ में, मतलब जो थोड़ा बहुत भी फर्क है बट वो ड्रास्टिक फर्क है, और मुझे खुद को ही नहीं अब अच्छा लगता है ऐसे रहना।
Very, very good. Very good. So, very good. You must use that experience to see the difference. Even a moment of living in the mind seems so oppressive after some point, that you must use that to live in the way of the truth more and more. And one tip for you is that always, when you ask me, just feel like you're just talking to me and ask me that which is truly bothering you in the heart, or it's a true question in your heart. Then if you start to meet like that with integrity, then you see that transformation will deepen more and more.
एक और
You
डर
never
है
have
फादर
to
में, सॉरी।
you never have to convince me or impress me about anything at all. I am
जी
pre-impressed by everybody. Okay, I know that you are God's light. I know that I'm already impressed. My job is to convince you about how great you are. You see, but you keep saying, no, I am just a person. I will become a vegetable. I am saying you are God's light. You are God itself. You see, you are saying, but this will happen to me. So remember that I am the one that is more impressed with you than you are. You see, so you never have to feel that I have to ask Father the right question. वो क्या सोचेंगे? All that you don't.
जी जी जी, थैंक यू फॉर
What is the second one you said?
ये कि if I don't show up, like it's I like मुझे बोलने में भी हिचक कि मैं if I don't show up, my parents will be disappointed. Like they'll be everybody everybody who's close to me will be disappointed, and I'll not be there for anybody, and I'll go all reckless and crazy.
Yeah, I understand. These are also very natural fears that we have on this path. But what is happening is that through some grace, you are coming to a greater light than even though elder ones around you may have come to, or they may recognize at this point. Now, that situation is always a bit tougher for them to deal with, because they will say, oh, this child doesn't know what she's doing, she's wasting her life, you see, all of these things. But you are realizing, hopefully, more and more you'll realize that a wasted life is that one which is lived for the non-existent me. मैं के लिए अगर हम जिएंगे और पूरी जिंदगी मैं के लिए बिता देंगे, instead of living an authentic life for God, who is the only reality, then that life lived for the me is the wasted one. Now you may recognize this at your age, and sometimes the older ones may not recognize it. That day, my family had gone out for a wedding, but my mom was in the house, so I went back home from satsang at 9:30. So I got a grilling also saying, "Oh, why have you come so late? You should do it for 2-3 hours. Do it in a bit of balance." You see, so I have got also all of that. You see? So parents will always have those kind of conditions, but because of that, we cannot curb our realities to such an extent. So because parents are opposing this, suppose they were opposing this, would you stop living in God's light because parents were saying, no, no, make something out of your life? Is their idea of making something a true something?
No, no, father. And they are opposing, not like too much, but still somewhere I keep getting drawn to satsang and I'm not being able to follow what they say.
Yes, trust these words, that the longing for God, the yearning for God, it's a beautiful grace that you had in your life, where so many others, our friends and colleagues, don't have this call, don't have this yearning. But this is a great gift that has been given to you by God's grace Himself. So never take anybody's opinion over that yearning of the heart. I know in Indian society, all of these things are very difficult. I have some children who, even at the age, much older ages, still follow everything that their parents are saying. But at least make an exception that when it comes to God, for that you will follow your heart fully. For everything to do with the world, you can follow your parental advice. But you must not give up the search, the finding of God, because our parents are scared about our future or something like that. There is no future without God.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you fight with them or tell them, no, no, I only want God. You don't have to become rebellious in that way, unless it is coming from your heart that is the medicine that is needed. Like with my mom also, and even when my dad was there, I hardly ever fought with them about this. It just came to say, okay, something like that. But I kept kept deepening in my heart, you see, as all that is happening. They can't go inside you and change you, no. They can only tell you from outside. Yeah, it's okay. They are older, they are worthy of our respect and not disrespect. So we must respect them. But when it comes to God, we must follow our heart fully. In the rest of life, it may be okay to follow them. So within yourself, you have to be strong and available only for God. You see?
Thank you, Father. Thank you.
Very welcome. Very good. I'm just reading through all the messages. Where is Keisha? She's like one of the constant ones, but I don't see her today. Anyone been in touch with her? Last few days I haven't heard anything. Alright. Oh, did that happen? Good, good. iPhone.
I'm here.
Okay, my dear. Good, good, good.
Very much here. Thank you, Father, for today.
You're welcome. Yeah.
These satsangs have been so powerful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Muji Baba ki Guru Kripa Kevalam. Bless you.